in this video, I want to look at how we can move from eliciting values all the way through to taking action. Values and action go hand in hand. As a matter of fact, what we're trying to promote is value-driven action. And in doing so, we're trying to get our clients to move in a direction that has some guidance based on those things that are important to us. And there's some questions that I go out and I use with my clients to go out and elicit this. And we can move all the way from elicitation of values to committed action. So this is a little demonstration of how I would go out and do this. The first thing I would do is ask my clients, if you couldn't fail, what would you go out and do? So if you felt completely confident and you couldn't fail, what would you go out and do? And that allows us to go out and choose anything. As a matter of fact, it allows us to do to say those things that we haven't been able to go out and do previously. Once we've got something that we can work with, and this is giving us something that the person's certainly not doing, because they can't fail in doing it, so they're now putting it out there, we can look at what's the value that actually underpins that. So what's the value there? What value would you be working in line with if you did that? So what's the value that you used? When we've gone out and found the value that's being used there, we would need to go out and look at what is it that we need to accommodate for? What are the things that we would need to hold or make room for in terms of stepping towards that value? So now we look at making room. And they would be those thoughts and feelings that someone goes out and experiences. And so you can see that we very quickly move from what would you be doing if you couldn't fail, if you had that confidence and you couldn't miss out, you could not succeed. And then what's the value that you're going out and encapsulating in that? That's important to us. And then what do you need to go out and make room for? Once we've got that, we look into that action phase. So what's the committed action? And obviously, it's the commitment to that. Now, the way I've used this with clients, if I can use an example with you, is if you could not fail, as number one, I've asked my client that, and the client said to me that they would go out and start to play cricket. But that's something that they've always wanted to go out and do, and they haven't been able to muster up the courage to do so. So cricket is important to them. Now, what's the value in playing cricket? And what's interesting, when we look at cricket, it's a team sport. It's not actually something that you do by yourself. And so the value that my client was working towards was connection, being part of a team. And in the service of connection, what would you need to hold? What would you need to have? And so, as you can imagine, in some very common experiences, there's a concern around, I'm not good enough, people wouldn't want me in their team, I haven't played before, and then the other experience, they're the thoughts, the feelings that we would need to experience is maybe nausea, tightness in the shoulders or muscle tightness, feeling a bit sick, heart racing, and so on. So we would have judgments. We would have criticisms or opinions, which are really assumptions. The assumption of opinion of others, and so on. And the feelings might be nausea, might be tightness, in muscles, etc. So now we've gone from if you couldn't fail to the values that you've used over to what would you have to make room for, and now we're looking at what's an action that you can take that's in line with your values, so value-driven action. And in doing so, a very simple thing over here was just to phone the cricket centre. And so we've moved all the way from values over here to committed action in a very fluid and simple way. You'll actually see that we've worked through experiential acceptance here, and that's very important there. We've also worked with willingness. So we're saying, would you be willing to experience this discomfort in the service of your value to take this action? And it's all come from the beginning, which is just saying, hey, if you couldn't fail, what would you go out and do? And so we just open up all these possibilities. So it allows the mind to explore other things rather than just the fear that we go out and we hold when we're considering things that we haven't done before, when we're considering getting out of our comfort zone. So that's how we would go out and move all the way from values all the way across to committed action in the service of those values. Use that. Consider how you might go out and use that with your current clients. I think it's very valuable, very useful, and we can move quite quickly to committed action because we don't want to ask for something too large. We're just starting that first step, and it's all based on values.